Hello, this is an overview of the School Care Yellow Open Access Plan with Choice Fund. I'm Jeff Kantorowski, and I will take you through the key components of the plan. We will cover some terminology, review the summary of benefits, and see how the out-of-pocket costs are calculated. So let's dive in. First, some key terms used with a plan. The first term is deductible. The deductible is the first out-of-pocket that must be incurred before the plan starts to pay for services. Similar to a car insurance when you have an accident, the deductible is paid out of pocket before the insurance starts to pay. The next term is coinsurance. After you meet the deductible, you will then only pay a small percentage of the charges. You will pay 20% of a medical service and 10% of the cost for a prescription. The last term is out-of-pocket maximum. Your out-of-pocket maximum for the year is the total of the deductible and coinsurance amounts. Once you reach your out-of-pocket max, then everything is covered in full. The Yellow Plan with Choice Fund is a consumer-driven health plan, or CDHP. It's called a consumer-driven plan because you are encouraged to be more involved in making decisions about your health care. Here are some highlights. First, the plan is lower cost, meaning the premiums are less than the traditional plans. Preventive care and certain generic drugs are covered at no cost, so your annual physical, routine screenings, annual GYN visit, and annual routine eye exams, etc. are covered at no cost to you. And certain generic drugs are also covered at no out-of-pocket cost. All other medical services and prescriptions are subject to an annual deductible and coinsurance up to an out-of-pocket max, at which point everything is then covered at 100%. Finally, what makes this plan unique is the built-in HRA Choice Fund. The Choice Fund pays the first part of the deductible for you. The Choice Fund is technically an embedded health reimbursement account, or HRA, which is provided by School Care. It pays the first part of the deductible automatically for you. To activate the account each year, the subscriber must complete a confidential health assessment at mycigna.com each spring. By completing the health assessment, a fund of $1,000 for single coverage or $2,000 for two-person or family coverage is loaded onto your Cigna account. Biometric values are not required in the assessment, and the results are not shared with anyone else. Any unused choice funds are allowed to roll over into the next year. Let's look at the summary of benefits. The first thing to note is the plan operates on Cigna's National Open Access Provider Network. This is Cigna's broadest nationwide provider network. You do not need a referral to see a specialist, and you are not required to designate a primary care provider. All preventive care and certain generic medications are covered at no cost. The Choice Fund HRA is activated when the subscriber completes a confidential health assessment at mycigna.com. This loads $1,000 or $2,000 onto your account each year. The Choice Fund pays the first portion of the deductible, which is $1,250 for single coverage, $2,500 for two-person or family coverage. Once the deductible has been met, you will then pay 20% of medical services and 10% of the cost of a prescription until the out-of-pocket is met for the year. That is $2,000 or $4,000 for single and two-person or family coverage. Keep in mind that the Choice Fund HRA is actually covering that amount for you, so your net out-of-pocket on the plan each year is $1,000 for single coverage or $2,000 for two-person or family coverage. Looking over the list of services, everything applies to the deductible, coinsurance, up to the annual out-of-pocket max equation. There are some visit limits that apply each year, the same as other school care plans. There are 60 combined limits for speech, physical, and occupational therapy per person per year. There's a 20 visit limit per person per year for chiro and a 12 visit limit per person per year for acupuncture. Durable medical equipment and prescriptions apply to this equation as well. So let's take a look at how this all works. Here you have a bucket of out-of-pocket costs, which we'll use to illustrate how the plan works. This is an individual on the plan. At the lower left, you see their deductible is $1,250. By completing the health assessment on mycigna.com in the spring, $1,000 gets loaded onto their account at Cigna to pay the first portion of their deductible. So how does that work? When you go to the doctor because you're sick, the doctor submits a claim and the cost of the claim is deducted from the fund automatically. At the pharmacy, you show your Cigna ID card, this pharmacy sends the claim to Cigna, and the cost of the prescription is deducted automatically from the fund to pay for the prescription. Once the $1,000 fund is expended, the individual has $250 of deductible expense. At the doctor's office, you would show your ID card, and the doctor's office would submit the claim to Cigna for processing. You would then get a bill for the cost of the visit up to $250. The same at the pharmacy. You would show your Cigna card, the pharmacy would send the claim to Cigna, and you would be expected to pay for the cost of the medication. The last tier is coinsurance. You will pay 20% of medical services and only 10% of the cost of a prescription, but no more than $75 for an additional $750 out of pocket. Once the fund has paid out $1,000 and you have paid out $1,000, you've met the out-of-pocket max of $2,000 for the year. At this point, all services and prescriptions are covered at 100% for the rest of the year. This is the illustration for two-person or family coverage. The deductible of $2,500 for the family shows the subscriber completes the health assessment and $2,000 is loaded onto the family's Cigna account. Again, charges for medical services and prescriptions would be covered by the HRA Choice Fund up to $2,000. Then, the family has $500 of deductible expense, so you would receive a bill from a provider or pay at the pharmacy for a prescription. After the fund pays out $2,000 and you pay $500, the family's deductible has been met and you start coinsurance. Then, you will pay only 20% of medical services and 10% of the cost of a prescription, but no more than $75 for an additional $1,500 out of pocket. Once the out of pocket has been reached, with the choice fund paying the first $2,000 and the family paying $2,000, they are done for the year. All services and prescriptions will be covered in full for the rest of the year. Let's take a look at a scenario for an individual. This chart shows a scenario for an individual. Starting at the bottom, we'll work our way up. First, a $250 prescription is paid automatically from the HRA Choice Fund. A $125 office visit is paid automatically from the fund. Next, x-rays and tests total $750. The remaining $625 of the fund is deducted, and you would get a bill for the remaining $125 balance. Another office visit is $125. The fund is used up, so you will receive a bill. You may use a flex spending account to pay for the out-of-pocket expense. The HRA Choice Fund has paid out $1,000, and you have been charged $250, which meets the deductible of $1,250. Now comes coinsurance. A $125 office visit for which you will owe 20%, so you will get a bill for $25. A $350 specialist visit will end up costing you $70. A $1,200 prescription is 10%, but no more than $75, so that is what you'll pay at the pharmacy. Another prescription for $300 will cost you $30 at the pharmacy. And a $10,000 surgery is 20% up to your out-of-pocket max, so you will receive bills totaling no more than $550. The HRA Choice Fund paid the first $1,000. You have been charged a total of $1,000. You have now met the annual out-of-pocket maximum of $2,000. The next $350 specialist visit will cost you $0. A prescription refill will cost you $0. There will be no more out-of-pocket for the rest of the year. Cigna makes it easy to keep track of your claims and out-of-pocket costs on mycigna.com and the MyCigna mobile app. You can view the charges to the HRA fund, see your explanation of benefits to verify how much you owe for a medical visit, and keep track of your prescriptions. You can also access the Good For You Wellness program on the site to earn incentive rewards for participating in wellness activities. We hope this webinar has been helpful in learning about the School Care Yellow Plan with Choice Fund. If you have any questions, feel free to contact the School Care office. Thank you.